All right, good deal, guys.
All right. So, Bobby, we're just waiting on you to pull up your screen basically to get back to the draft. And when you do that, I paused the draft for you. I was nice. So I expect a thank you and money to be sent to my PayPal.
I appreciate you doing that, man. I'm trying to share my screen really quick. Man, that was pretty stressful. I'll tell you what, though. We just recorded the podcast, and I was really hungry. We hadn't eaten lunch yet. So I actually got to eat lunch during that time. So now you're Tags because my tummy's full. I'm wearing a suit. And Tags is going to try to play this cool like he, didn't have anything to do with this. He sabotaged my internet on purpose so that he could win the draft by cheating.
Oh. No. All right. So we're going to resume this, Bobby. I'm going to hit resume on I'm not going to make any excuses. I was nice, and now you come back in here talking smack. I don't think it's very kind. And I think everybody
great job. You know what's funny is I was watching you on YouTube, and man, you picked it right up. Yeah, you nailed it. I was going to draft Julio Jones. I ended up with Davante Adams. I'm fine with that. There's really not much of a difference.
Yeah, Davante Adams would have been my pick there. I was hoping that you got auto picked with someone else. Like I was kind of hoping that they would reach for someone like Travis Kelce there. To be honest,
I'm going to get Travis Kelce now.
Are you at 2-6?
Heck yeah, dude. Who else am I going to pick? Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, George Kittle? No way.
That's fair.
Those are the guys who were top on the board. And Travis Kelce, I actually thought about picking him at 1-7. I'd be comfortable with him at 110, 111, assuming Julio wasn't there. I'd take him over Todd Gurley at this point. And then I was going to get Todd Gurley. In the second round, he didn't fall, but Travis Kelce did, so let's do it. And guys, to everyone watching, I really appreciate you guys being patient. I guess some of you guys got your questions answered by Tags, which is awesome, but man, that just was really bad timing. I was not very happy about that.
Yeah, the timing wasn't great, obviously, but we're back, and I'm happy that we were able to make it work. I am mad that Kelce did fall to 2-6. Now, I don't know at the point where I feel comfortable drafting Kelce because I've said that I don't blame people for drafting him as the top of the second round, but I think it puts you in a weird position, for the remainder of your draft. Bobby, would you have drafted
I don't have a running back yet through 2 rounds.
Well, yeah, if Todd Gurley was there, would you have taken Todd Gurley over Travis Kelce?
Abso-freaking-lutely, and I wouldn't have even thought twice. I would have run to the podium. Hey, by the way, Damian Williams going off the board at 2-7, Tags.
Yeah, he's I don't know. Like I've actually seen him go in the second round in a few drafts over the last day, and that's crazy. Thank you. Thank you for letting Tyreek Hill fall to me, guys. Like this is a gift. I legit did not think that Tyreek Hill would have a chance to fall to me here. And
Mike Evans picked over him.
Yeah, he did. And Damian Williams. So Williams has been moving up draft boards for whatever reason. I don't know if it's the Carlos Hyde potentially being cut, but Darwin Thompson is the one that should be moving up, guys. But Tyreek Hill as my second pick at 2-9, I am ecstatic. Okay, I was in my home league draft and I took so I ended up taking I had the decision at it was like a 2-5, I think. I had the decision between Juju Smith-Schuster and Tyreek Hill. I did choose to go Juju just because I believe the consistency is going to be there with Juju, whereas Tyreek Hill is going to give you the ups and downs on a weekly basis. But when he does hit, Tyreek Hill is a week winner, right?
Yeah. Yep, I would agree with that. I'm fine with Mike Evans, but I would take Tyreek Hill. He was the number 1 fantasy football wide receiver last season, and to get him at 2-9 is just stealing. I'm looking at the teams right now. I'm clicking on the draft board, and Tags, there's a team here, Hyde and Zeke. They got Julio Jones and Michael Thomas. How would you feel starting your draft with 2 wide receivers like that?
I've actually done it in a few leagues where I have an Odell Beckham and a Julio Jones or some combination like that, and I feel okay with it because it's you're just stacked at that position, and you're just okay, I mean, I don't have a running back, but maybe you've made people panic. Maybe people are just wide receivers are going to start coming off the board. You start a run of wide receivers, and maybe, hopefully, someone like an Aaron Jones, Chris Carson, or Leonard Fournette falls to you at the 3-4 turn. But worst case scenario, I think you might be looking at someone like Josh Jacobs, Marlon Mack. Ew.
I mean, that would be bad, but
that would be terrible.
Previous years, I would not be okay with starting wide receiver. This year, it's a lot different because you mentioned you can get Leonard Fournette, Chris Carson, Aaron Jones in the 3rd round. You can get Sony Michel, maybe even Chris Carson in the 4th round. In the 6th round, you go and reach for Latavius Murray as your RB3. I feel good about that.
Yeah.
That's Patrick Mahomes off the board at 3-1, Tags.
Ooh, Patrick Mahomes going to
I'm terrific. Started out with Saquon, Leonard Fournette, and Patrick Mahomes.
Wow, I want to see who the wide receiver 1 is going to be there. I'm on the clock, and naturally, one of our followers here would take Aaron Jones, which would totally screw me over.
I knew you were going to take him. I was thinking about taking him myself, and then I was like, oh, Tags is picking before me. He'll be gone.
Yeah. So this is the point in the draft where I'm going to explain to you guys why I do lose mock drafts in this thing, is because I'm going to take Chris Carson because he's my number 12 or 13 running back right now. I have him over Kerryon. I have him over Devonta. So I will take Chris Carson and kind of stick to my draft board here, because Chris Carson, I mean, we've heard about Rashad Penny and the fact that it's not even close between those two. Every beat reporter talks about it, saying there's a clear talent gap between the two. Penny will have a role, and that's fine. But Chris Carson, as long as he's healthy, that dude is locked into 20 touches per game.
Yes, he is. Tags, this is not a good spot in the draft for me with, drafting against our listeners, because Aaron Jones and Leonard Fournette are already gone. Chris Carson just went off the board. So I'm coming up here. If I have, if I start the draft wide receiver, tight end, typically I'm looking for one of those three this round, and I can get any of them. In fact, I might be able to get one of them the fourth round. I can't get any of them here. So I'm going to have to go wide receiver. I'm not going Kerryon Johnson. I'm not going Devonta Freeman at this point. We'll see what I can do at running back. This is going to be an interesting test here. I'm going to go with Stephon Diggs. He's my top wide receiver remaining on the board. I imagine Brandon Cooks is going to slip back to me, and if he doesn't, maybe I'll reach for a tight end. Zach Ertz is still on the board.
I was going to say, I was surprised you didn't go Ertz there.
It's an interesting one. I've got Travis Kelce, duh. That's why I wasn't thinking about it. So I'm going Stephon Diggs. I don't love picking him in the third round, but at this point, it's a lot better for me than reaching for Devonta Freeman or Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I've seen Zach Ertz falling, and he just goes off the board at 3-8 to Tom Mock and Roll. I think we have a few Toms in this draft, apparently. But Zach Ertz has been falling to like the end of the third round, and it's like, man, I feel like at some point we have to say value's there, right? Like I understand. Yeah. I've explained the whole Kelce thing. I get that. With Carson Wentz coming back, now Deshaun Jackson is apparently might miss some time. I'm starting to like Zach Ertz more and more at the end of the third. It's just, I really do hate being set back at the running back and wide receiver positions.
How close is, I know you love OJ Howard. We just talked about in the podcast it's going to publish tonight. How close is OJ Howard to number 3? Is he closer to Zach Ertz at number 3 or Hunter Henry, Evan Ingram at 5 or 6?
No, I'll say that in terms of like the value with him, I'll say he's closer to the 5-6 territory than he is the 2-3. And it's not to say that, I mean, I think it's likely that he winds up towards that 2-3 territory, but I also understand the risk you're taking by putting him closer to that tier, where it's like, if you get him closer to the 4-5-6 or that 5-6 tier, that's basically baking in some upside, where if you're taking him in between, you're already building some of that potential upside into his price. So if you get into that, like the 5th round, that's the area that I'll look at OJ Howard, like really, like I'll likely take him just depending on who's available on the board, because sometimes guys will fall in the draft that we didn't expect to be there in the 5th. And it's like, I know I said I'd take OJ Howard, but this guy's there and I want to take him instead. So it's just about understanding. That's why when people ask me the questions, whether they say, would you take this player in the 6th round or the 7th round? I'm like, it's a loaded question because it has nothing to do with my rankings, because my rankings will probably say yes, but it also depends on who is available on the board, which is why I have my tier list up.
Yep, I would agree with that. All right, we're moving along. Amari Cooper came off the board at 3-9. Brandon Cooks, the guy that I was eyeing. But actually, there's a couple running backs I like quite a bit. Derrick Henry just went off the board. He was not one of them, so that makes me happy. I'm going to get a running back this round. It's down to 4 of them. One of them is going to be available for me. I've got 4 picks until my selection here. Josh Jacobs just went off the board. He wasn't one of them either. So let's see what happens here. Hayden Zeke is up. Let's take a look at that draft board to see what he ended up doing. He went Devonta Freeman in the 3rd round, something that I could have done, and since I didn't get a running back in the first 2 rounds.
Who are you looking at here, Bobby? Did you dare mention it to our followers that are drafting alongside of us?
What's that?
Who are you talking about? What running backs are you hoping to get at your pick? Because obviously,
I'm not telling you.
That's what I was thinking. I'm behind you.
Marlon Mack was one of them. He just went off the board. I wouldn't have loved getting him in the 4th round, but at this point, needing a running back.
I know where you're going.
The running back that I'm looking at right now, I should have taken him in the 3rd round instead of Stephon Diggs.
I know who you're taking.
Might make it to me. Let's see. I got 2 more picks.
Oh, so the timer's going to be over by the time. I know it's Melvin Gordon. That's who you're going to be taking. Because basically what you guys are seeing on YouTube, so this wouldn't be broadcast. Yep. And Melvin Gordon is going to be the pick here, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, man.
Yep.
Melvin Gordon in the 4th round. Give it to me. You know what? If Melvin Gordon holds out, I am screwed. This team is Gordon plays. I'm winning this league.
That's how I felt about Ezekiel Elliott at 4. I mean, I'm not saying that you automatically win because you get Ezekiel Elliott at 4, but that's where it's like he's definitely part of the top 4, and I'm hoping that deal gets done. I really am, because obviously in this mock we have no risk, and taking Melvin Gordon in the 4th, that makes all the sense in the world. And knowing that you avoided the running back position this entire time and landed Melvin Gordon, it's a bit frustrating.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. If I would have taken Melvin Gordon at 3-7 and Sony Michel at 4-6, who just went off the board, I think I'd like my team a little bit better. So I'm kind of disappointed, but I really shouldn't feel that way since Gordon dropped to me at 4-6.
Oh, David Montgomery. I thought I was
the other guy. It was Marlon Mack. It was Melvin Gordon, Sony Michel, Marlon Mack, David Montgomery in that order. I would have liked to get any of those 4. Now my second running back is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I thought I was going to walk into one of my first shares of David Montgomery because he's been going at like the end of the 3rd round at times, and it's just that's way too hefty of a price for me. So here I am going to we just talked about
I didn't realize you got sniped on that one. That blows.
So I'm not
Tyler Lockett.
Hold on a second. I'm going to explain this one. I'm not a big fan of this pick. Okay, I am really not. I did not want to be forced into taking Tyler Lockett here, but understand that basically when value is presented to me, I'm going to take it. And basically at the wide receiver position, the guys that are still on the board are guys that we have question marks or are the number 2 wide receivers in their offense. We just recorded an episode of our podcast that'll be out tomorrow morning with Justin Boone. And Boone was saying that Tyler Lockett is one of his must-have players. And I said that and we argued about Tyler Lockett and D.D. Westbrook. And I said that I don't get the argument on D.D. Westbrook, but I understand it on Tyler Lockett because you're talking about a guy. Where are the targets going to go now? Like you have DK Metcalf hurt. You have
it's not Will Dissly. It's not Jazz Ferguson.
Right. You have David Moore hurt. So it's like his targets have to go up. And those targets are coming from Russell Wilson, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He's always been efficient to his wide receivers. So Tyler Lockett may not need to get 110, 120 targets to get to wide receiver 2 territory. He might need just 100 targets. And looking around the landscape. I don't know if he's
getting that though, man. Over under is probably what, 95?
I'd probably say that that's fair to set it, but knowing these injuries, if we knew Metcalf and Moore were going to be out a couple weeks, I would say probably closer to 100.
Yeah, well, if he gets 100 targets,
I just felt the need to explain that pick because I'm not a big fan of it. But Bobby,
you took him over. You took him over Cooper Kupp. Your guy Alshon Jeffrey. Mike Williams has a lot of upside.
Jeffrey falls.
You reach, man.
Hold on a second. He falls. So because I have Jeffrey in my rankings over Tyler Lockett, it doesn't mean I have to draft him over him. It's all about like maximizing your value. So are you
telling us you're about to get Alshon Jeffrey right here with Calvin?
I might. He's definitely someone on the board that I'm still looking at. So basically, that's what you have to do. You have to understand your draft position. I knew that Alshon Jeffrey would be there with my next pick if I want him, and he could be my wide receiver 3. I knew.
Yeah, but hold on a second. We all know you're not taking Alshon Jeffrey. You're taking OJ Howard if he's still on the board.
Maybe. I'm not going to say anything, dude. I'm not explaining anything to anyone. I'm just going to let the draft come to me and draft who the best is available. But it's important to mention though as well, Bobby, do you change your draft strategy when there's multiple flex spots? Like basically because we're starting 3 wide receivers, 2 flex, do you change that tight end slot?
It doesn't change a ton for me now. I mean, it's a little bit less important to get a good tight end, but now with the 2 flex spots, it doesn't change that much. Are you taking OJ Howard? You're up.
Bingo.
All right.
OJ Howard, welcome to the squad. I'm happy about that. You see, like looking at the board, the guys that were there, I'm not really excited about DJ Moore. I'm not excited about Tyler Boyd. Like I'm excited about OJ Howard. I feel like if he's on the field, he's going to live up to this draft spot and there's equity for more. That's what it's all about, right? When you draft players in your fantasy football leagues, if you think D.D. Westbrook is going to be a wide receiver 3, awesome. And I've said before, I think that's a scenario that's possible. If you're drafting him as a wide receiver 3, you're not getting any equity. And when you're that far back in the draft, you should be looking for guys that could potentially live up to more than that. You know what I mean? Where it's like OJ Howard, I'm drafting him in the 5th, and that's where I have him ranked. But the reason I have him down there is because the value is just built into his price.
You know what I would love is if I could trade back and get an additional 6th round pick, because I don't love the value right here.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Mark Ingram as my RB2, and you know I don't love him. James White would be a great pick next round if he's there. Latavius Murray would be a great pick next round if he's there. I could go get AJ Green or Josh Gordon, who I like. That's a little bit too early. Allen Robinson, I'm going to just go ahead and get my running back right now, and I'm going to go with Mark Ingram. Mm-hmm. And this might be my first share of Mark Ingram, but at this stage in the draft, round 5, he's safe because of Baltimore running the ball as much as they do. And hopefully I can get Justice Hill. Although, since this is a listener draft, I would imagine Justice Hill is going to go like right before me.
Justice Hill, you going to take him in 6th round?
I'm not taking him in the 6th round. You know what? If I had to, if I knew I was in a draft with someone who also loved Justice Hill, I'd be comfortable taking him in the 9th round. I'm probably going to get him in the 12th in most of my leagues. I might reach to the 11th, but I'd feel comfortable taking Justice Hill in the 9th round.
Yeah, I mean, that's Darwin Thompson territory. And honestly, I saw a draft earlier today that I was doing. He went in the 8th round. So Darwin Thompson, the hype is getting out of control, where it's like
not out of control. It's coming up to where it should be, in my opinion.
I think the 9th round is about where it should be. I think that's where he should go in. But at the 8th round, it's like if you have Damian Williams, I'm okay, I guess, drafting Darwin Thompson in the 8th because you're locked into an RB1 no matter what.
Yeah.
It's just ugly. Allen Robinson, yeah. Unfortunately, like, so again, you guys are sharp. Anytime I do these mock drafts, like people, like everyone knows who they're like, who to draft. You know, a lot of people have been listening, understand the picks that we're going to take, the logic behind those picks. And there's just not much value to be had because like on my roster, Bobby, if you're able to put my roster up on your screen real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
So like if you go through that, like looking at my roster, I have just too much risk here. I need stability in my lineup. So that's basically what I'm going to be looking at in my next pick. So I have Ezekiel Elliott, obviously a holdout risk. I have Chris Carson, an injury risk, somebody that hasn't been able to stay healthy throughout his career. I have Tyreek Hill, a guy that's up and down that can win you weeks, sure, but he's up and down. I have Tyler Lockett, who I'm hoping he walks into more targets. I think that's going to be the case. He's been slowly moving up my board, but there's risk. And then OJ Howard, a guy that, again, who hasn't been able to stay on the field. So I have a team full of upside here. And I love having upside on my roster, but you need to balance it out. So basically, if you're looking at your team, you have to evaluate it every couple of rounds and say, where am I at and what do I need? I need stability on this roster. That's why I was hoping usually around this range, I can get Alshon Jeffrey. I can get an Allen Robinson. And that's why I'm okay doing it. I should have just known better, I guess, drafting with all these sharps.
I like Brian Bust's team. I'm looking at it right now. He's got Christian McCaffrey, Aaron Jones, Cooper Kupp, Calvin Ridley, George Kittle. I think that's a nice start. I'm starting to look through some of the rosters here since I looked at yours. Duke Johnson, by the way, went in the 4th round. We didn't talk about that, Tags.
Duke Johnson went in the 4th. Ooh, boy. What do you think about that?
I think that he could outperform a 4th round pick. I think that it's more likely that he doesn't, but you know, if you get Duke Johnson, if you want to get your guy, 4th round is where I'm okay with starting to reach for somebody.
Yeah, fourth, that's too risky for my blood because again, it goes back to the conversation. If you think Duke Johnson's going to be an RB2, he needs to live up to that price. You just paid RB2 prices, so it's basically eliminating the equity that you could potentially have with him. That the only players that you don't think about equity and all that stuff are guys that are drafted in the top 2 rounds because you know exactly who's going to go there. Like there's not much equity because you're already drafting them to finish top 12 at their position. But outside of that, you start looking for guys like they present some sort of equity.
So I was planning on taking Latavius Murray. Obviously, that didn't happen. And then I was going to take Aaron Rodgers. That didn't happen. Let's go AJ Green here.
AJ Green. Now, you see, you take him before I would. I was in a draft Monday night. It was an industry league. I got AJ Green. And to be fair, it was a Superflex league, so players drop probably about a round. So I got AJ Green in the 10th round.
10th round.
Yes. I have him as my wide receiver 3. And then I was able to snag like Marvin, I think it was Marvin Jones and like and I paired him with AJ Green, where it's just like, I feel so much better about it. I could plug in, that's kind of like, that's like the dream scenario where you have someone to fill that role while AJ Green is on the bench.
Would you prefer AJ Green or Josh Gordon at this point? Because I couldn't decide between the two of them.
Josh Gordon, I think. At least I know Gordon's going to be on the field when the season starts. Oh man, this is tough because the players that I usually take in this range, a Miles Sanders, a Sammy Watkins, they're too risky.
How many weeks do you think AJ Green is going to miss? Oh, it's your pick. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Man, I don't like this pick at all, but I was rushed into it. Like I was talking too much. No, seriously, I don't like this pick at all.
My bad, man.
It's. I mean, I know some people are okay with it, but I don't like it. Austin Eckler in the 6th, at the end of the 6th. But I was looking. Basically, what I did is I was just looking for some stability, and I didn't see any. I saw Robbie Anderson. I saw Sammy Watkins. I saw Will Fuller, Christian Kirk. And again, it's coming back to the idea that these players offer they offer massive upside, sure, but the consistency
was really close to an auto pick with Baker Mayfield. It actually might have been.
Justin, that one that just went. So
but I want to go back to AJ Green really quick. Okay. So what do you think the average is? If you simulate this season 1,000 times, how many games does AJ Green miss? 3?
I would probably estimate it 4 because there might be another game
okay.
there.
Over the last 5 seasons, Julian Edelman averages missing 3.2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Who's better when they're on the field, AJ Green or Julian Edelman, Tags?
AJ Green.
AJ Green, not even close, man. AJ Green's going 3 rounds later than Julian Edelman.
Whew. I mean, but the thing is, we don't know for a fact that Edelman is going to miss games. We know for a fact that Green is, and they've been so quiet about it. That's the annoying part about the entire thing is that they've been so quiet about it. I mean, I'll tell you this, Bobby, though. I'm actually happy that he had surgery because I feel like if they don't have surgery, it's something that could irritate him throughout the year. And it's like, maybe it just never gets better. But if they did surgery, they obviously fix the problem. It's just a matter of a time frame until it's healed enough for him to play. So I'm definitely happier. But
dang it, dude. I thought that Matt Ryan was going to slip back to me and I just saw he was drafted.
No, I'm waiting at quarterback. That's happening.
I'm waiting at quarterback, but if Matt Ryan was there in the 7th round, I was going to take it.
All right. If Justin gets auto picked again, I hope it's Robbie Anderson. Please be Robbie Anderson. D.D. Westbrook, even better. I actually would.
I don't think he was auto picked. I think he's just like living on the edge.
I am not drafting Robbie Anderson, and it tells me right now. And by the way, it tells me on my thing. 72% of experts say that I should take Robbie Anderson. My take on that. No,
Who are these experts?
What's that?
I said, who are these experts?
I don't know, but I'm taking Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is someone that we're in the 7th round. I mean, I talked about it when I was doing a Q&A when Bobby disappeared. I talked about Miles Sanders as someone that you don't want to draft as an RB2, but if you get him as your RB3, that's fine. He could be in a timeshare and he could still produce as an RB3. He's actually my RB4 in my 2nd flex spot. So I am pretty dang happy to get Miles Sanders where I did in the 7th round. Bobby, I know that you're not like big on Sanders right now, but do you think this is a great value to get him?
If he would have fallen, I would have taken him. So yes, yeah, absolutely. I'm not low on Miles Sanders. I guess I'm a little lower than some experts, but like, I don't think he's a bad pick anymore. I just don't think that there's as much upside as most people think. Now, some people aren't going to be happy about this, but you all probably could have guessed. I'm taking Corey Davis right here. I'm not taking any chance he doesn't fall. Yes, I do like him more than Robbie Anderson, and frankly, it's not even close.
Yeah, he's someone that I definitely would have contemplated. Like if Miles Sanders wasn't there, I probably would have gone with Corey Davis because I don't think he presents upside. I think he's a little bit more stability, just because like he's a guy that should walk into 7-8 targets per game, and that's hard to find in this range.
Yes, it sure is. I would have thought about Curtis Samuel and thought maybe I can get cute and Corey Davis will drop another round. But I didn't really want to take a chance at this spot, especially in a 2-flex league where, you need an extra guy that you can rely on every week. I know Corey Davis hasn't been great, but he's going to get all those targets. So I think you can rely on him every week, and he's got big upside.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So let's see. So Robbie Anderson finally went.
What is Corey Davis's upside, by the way? Do you think there's any chance he can finish as a top 15 wide receiver?
I'm going to say no, just because the offense limitations. I do think that Corey Davis, talent-wise, can finish there in the right situation.
So like you put him on in Philadelphia, and he's a top 15 guy, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely could be. So the reason I say that is I don't know if you guys watching know. So last year, I think it was the top 17 wide receivers in fantasy football were on top 15 or 16 offenses. Like none of them were outside the top 15 or 16 offenses. And I see no way in hell that the Titans are in that conversation. I just feel like they're a team that's going to want to play better defense under Vrabel. They want to run the ball, which means they just want to slow the game down a little bit. I'm not really excited about that offense. That's why Corey Davis, I think wide receiver 2 range, like if you can get like a back end wide receiver 2 range for Corey Davis, I think that's best case scenario. But drafting him again as a wide receiver 4, which is where he's going now in drafts, is you're getting a value with him then.
All right, couple wide receivers coming up. Dante Pettis, Larry Fitzgerald, Cortland Sutton, Geronimo Allison. Tags, if you needed a wide receiver, I'm going to pick before you. Which of these guys would you take? Would it be Allison or Fitzgerald?
I think you should take Tyrell Williams. That's just speaking from the heart, buddy.
No, not who would I take? Who do you want me to take? Who would you take?
Tyrell Williams.
You're not going to talk me into anything. Like, I'm going to make my own pick.
Tyrell Williams, hands down. I got a lot of people picking in front of me, and guys that are actually in this YouTube channel, in the YouTube.
There are people listening to this right now who really think that you would recommend drafting Tyrell?
No, they don't.
You
You
tell
guys
them
know
that
me
you're
better
joking.
than that. Like, people know me better than I would not recommend Tyrell Williams to you guys. But by the way, guys, if you guys do us a favor while Bobby's mulling over his decision and trying to talk me into it, make sure you guys hit the like button. There's a lot of you guys in here, and thank you so much for supporting. Being here. Obviously, if you're not part of the draft, hopefully you're winning something in the chat. I know they were giving some stuff away. I think they're still doing that stuff. But thank you guys so much for being here, and thank you for clicking the like button and subscribing to the channel. Get notifications, because I'm going to be doing live videos, Q&As, talking with you guys every single Sunday morning for a full hour. So basically, I'm going to talk you through the inactives for the day, and basically the aftermath of those injuries, what it means for everybody else, and taking your questions on Sunday. So definitely appreciate it. Thank you.
Dang it, man. Somebody just took Larry Fitzgerald. I thought for sure that he was going to drop. Process over results. Let's see here.
Go with Cortland Sutton.
Got a couple of the guys that I like.
Go with Cortland Sutton.
He's the guy that got Latavius Murray. I'm mad at this guy. Tyler, if you're listening, not my friend right now.
Yeah, to be fair, I did want Sterling Shepard or Larry Fitzgerald. Maybe even Geronimo Allison, because those are the guys that were, like, when talking about stability in my lineup, those would have been those guys. They may not be sexy picks, but they would have been good picks for my team.
All right, Tags, take this, sucker. Anthony Miller, baby. Did you leave? Did you lose your internet?
Shut up. I am so tired of this.
I honestly didn't do that because I wanted to spot you. I did that because I want to win this league. And I'm not even so concerned about winning the mock draft. I want to win this league. I drafted Anthony Miller in the 8th round because I think that he can help me do that.
Yeah, well, it's happened more often than I really hoped, because in that league I was talking about, the Chicago media, Pat Fitzmaurice, a friend of the show, he actually drafted Anthony Miller. He literally looked at me right before he made the pick and he goes, "Sorry, Tags."
Pat's such a nice guy. He was probably feeling really bad about that for the next 3 days that he took the guy that you like.
I'm actually pretty happy with who I landed here, seeing that my wide receiver 3 is coming in the 8th round. I've talked about him as someone that is in the same territory as Geronimo Allison, where it's very possible that one outdoes the other, and I can't say for sure who it is, because we've never seen Matt LaFleur in that position. So Marquez Valdez-Scantling, the buzz is real. I think that Aaron Rodgers can produce 3 top 40 wide receivers. So getting him as my wide receiver 3 in the 8th round, I can't be too mad about it. Honestly, I'm happy that he fell, because I legit thought he was going to come off the board, and I was going to be left choosing between Michael Gallup and Dante Moncrief.
Tags, I've already got five wide receivers. You've got 4 running backs. If you want to trade me Chris Carson for Anthony Miller, I'm down.
I will give you my 9th round pick for Anthony Miller.
No, not a deal. All right, I'm going to pull up the draft board here real quick and take a look at some of these teams. Tags, you don't have a quarterback. Poe Nose doesn't have a quarterback. Me, and then the last 3 picks. So there's already been 6 quarterbacks off the board. Carson Wentz, by the way, went in the 7th round.
That's about right, I think. He's going higher than I would take him, but that's where he's going.
Where do you have Carson Wentz in your rankings? Every time I post my rankings, people get so mad about where I have Carson Wentz.
No, it's the same thing with me. And to be fair, when I posted my tier list, I posted literally, it was from 9 until quarterback 18 was the same tier. And they're like, Tags, you can't do that. I'm like, oh, yes, I can.
Yeah. Darwin Thompson off the board. I was going to take him. I should have known better.
They got to you though. That's
Miller just to make sure I got him.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. Now I'm frustrated. I keep talking about something, and then I turn back to the draft board, and another player's gone that I was going to take.
Justice Hill, look at this. Oh man.
Well, it's the right territory for him though. To be fair. Let's see. Who am I going?
What am I going to do at running back? I've got 2 running backs, and one of them is Mark Ingram. This is why you do mock drafts, and this is why I am very glad it's not a real.
Robbie, you almost always do this, though. You're always I'm going to wait at this position. Then you get to the end, and you're like, I don't like my team. Man. That's why a balanced roster is the best.
Me, I'm talking about myself, not the guys who are drafting this.
I was actually about to take another running back, but Royce Freeman just came off the board, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go down the board a little bit, and this is a pick that I'm starting to come around on more and more, with the talk that I would have taken Deshaun Jackson, by the way, but I'm going to take Gallup because Deshaun Jackson's not healthy. And but Michael Gallup is someone that would really benefit if Amari Cooper did struggle with this plantar fasciitis, or if he missed any time, because Gallup would be the number 1 receiver in that offense. And I mean, you can't tell me that Randall Cobb or Jason Witten is going to be that guy, because they're not. Michael Gallup is an excellent wide receiver to have on your bench in a league that we start this many, slots. I thought that Michael Gallup would probably wind up as a flex in this league, but fortunately I have him on my bench.
So this next selection is going to be really difficult for me. Side Effects is going to pick before me, and hopefully maybe he'll make the decision easier for me. But right now I'm trying to decide between Matt Breida as my third running back and my guy Kiki QT. I would hate to miss out on Kiki QT, but I think I've got to take that third running back.
Well, I would agree. I think Breida is the better pick here, just because QT, we have no idea what's happening. So Bill O'Brien, they asked him, are you planning on having him for week 1? He said, no, I wouldn't plan on that at all. So the injury, they've been really quiet about it.
It's really funny. When it first happened, everyone thought it was a season ender, and now it's like, hey, he might play in week 1. I don't think it's going to happen. I would expect on him missing 3 weeks, but when he comes back, he's going to be a useful wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 type that you can rely on in the flex. And I think he's got some upside as well.
Yeah.
I'm starting off the board at 9-8.
I'm starting to worry though about, like, Darrell Henderson has been sliding down draft boards. I remember he was going in like the 6th and 7th round.
Yeah. When would you start taking him?
Henderson? I mean, we're in the territory.
I'd take him after Darwin Thompson and Justice Hill, but I'd be fine getting Darrell Henderson at some point.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to him, like, going in the 9th round. Like, where you got him here is a good value. Matt Breida was a good pick there, because I don't think Tevin Coleman is built for a workhorse role. So I think this is a good territory for him. This is where people are starting to grab backups and, like, high upside handcuffs. And that's the thing. When I say handcuffs, I don't mean like drafting handcuffs because, like, oh, I have Chris Carson, I had to get Rashad Penny, or, like, I don't play like that. Basically, when you get to the backup, like your bench running backs, grab the guys that are tied to high scoring offenses. And if there was an injury in front of them that they walk into, like a role that could potentially have RB2, RB1 value, that's why I continually say that Mike Davis is undervalued. Like, we talk about all these high upside handcuffs and stuff like that, but the Bears offense last year, despite their defense being as good as they were, the Bears offense was 12th in points per game. I would think that would only improve in year 2, adding David Montgomery, getting more continuity in the offensive line, everybody there for another year. I just think Mike Davis is one of the more undervalued handcuffs.
3 tight ends off the board. There's a run. Actually, Vance McDonald came off earlier in that round as well. So we had Vance McDonald, David Njoku, Eric Ebron, and Austin Hooper all in the 9th round.
Yep. I mean, that's about right, because that's the tier, and it's like someone's
panicking. If you don't have a tight end by now, you're in big trouble.
You're streaming the position, essentially, is what it comes down to. That's basically where it's at.
I think Trey Burton is going. I don't need a tight end, so I can talk about this. I feel like Trey Burton's going a little bit too late. I understand he's dealing with the injury. Let's see if there's any updated news on him right now. His ADP is 146. ECR, expert consensus rankings, 113. So the analysts in the industry think he should go 3 full rounds higher than he's actually going. Let's see here. So he's dealing with a sports hernia. Oh, that was a while ago, actually. It looks like we don't have the updated news on Trey Burton, but apparently they're thinking about him being able to play in week 1. Hey, I'm on the board.
Yeah, he should be able to play in week 1. I would think that I think that's been the plan all along, was just to take it easy with the hernia surgery that he was coming back from. And I think the Bears starters altogether, they were just taking it easy with all of them, because basically the practice that they get in practice is against a better defense that they're probably going to see on Sundays.
Right. And, Trey Burton was a top 8 fantasy tight end last season. So if he plays 16 games this year, I think he's going to be just fine. Way better than his ADP. Now I'm reaching a little bit for my next running back, Tony Pollard. I think Tags, we already had a fight about this on the podcast, so I know what you think, but I think he's got quite a bit of upside if Zeke does hold out.
I mean, in the 10th round, it is what it is. And this is I think I said 11th round where I was at on Pollard. So this is not like a crazy reach. I don't think it's bad. I mean, if he was there at my pick, I'd consider him, because I have Elliott. And I say that if you have someone on a holdout, you might want to reach around, but I'm not really convinced on Tony Pollard, which is why I didn't reach on him.
Yeah.
And damn you.
Well, I've got Melvin Gordon on a holdout. So
side effects, damn you. Because Golden Tate was going to be on my bench. That was more stability to add to my lineup.
I was thinking about drafting Golden Tate, but I had to reach for Pollard.
Yeah, it's no longer there. Man. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and snag my quarterback here. Russell Wilson has fallen far enough. I now have Russell Wilson, Chris Carson, and Tyler Lockett
over Jared Goff and Jameis Winston, huh?
It's that tier. They're all in the same tier.
Okay.
But I think Wilson gives me more stability. That's basically.
I know most people like Wilson more. I just thought that you were, a Goff guy and a Winston guy.
I like Goff. I do. And like I said, they're in the same tier for me, and it just depends. But I think Goff could be a little bit more up and down. We saw it last year. At the end of the year, he was the defense that he went against, whereas Russell Wilson is kind of, he's a guy that you could just plug and play. That's why I took him. I think he's a bit more, he offers more stability than Jared Goff does.
So I've come up a little bit on Russell Wilson. I had him pretty low, and I do think the passing touchdowns are going to go down. I mean, that's kind of a given.
But the pass attempts will go up, though.
Passes. But did you know last year, Tags, he did not have a single rushing touchdown? I think he's due for positive regression in that sense.
Absolutely.
By the way, when we say positive regression, we get this all the time. People are like, there's no such thing as positive regression. Regression means negative. No, regression means towards the mean.
Yep.
So the expectation for Russell Wilson running the ball 65 times would be that he gets in the end zone 1, 2, 3 times. Since he did it 0, he's regressing north towards that mean.
Yep. That's exactly what it is. And that's why we always say positive or negative regression. There's a player on the board I really, really want. I don't think he's going to fall to me, though, and it makes me sad. I'm not going to mention his name because there's still 3 people that have to pick in front of me.
I'm going to try to guess this here.
And I debated picking him with my last pick and then just taking Russell Wilson. And actually, this is my fault because I should have, I said, talking during this makes it a little more difficult because the draft board, I'm going to pull it up. Yep. I didn't have to take Russell Wilson there. At each of the first 3 picks, that's a rookie mistake, by the way. And there goes my guy.
Blew it, dude. It's because I'm wearing a suit.
Friggin' Washington. That was my pick. So James, this is like something to learn from, guys. So I'm picking. I had the 104 pick, and it was on the way back, going towards the top of the draft. And the guys in front of me, one has Patrick Mahomes, one has Matt Ryan, one has Baker Mayfield. I should have left Russell Wilson on the board. I should have drafted James Washington because I debated him, and then grabbed Russell Wilson on the way back because he would have been there. So
what are you doing now?
You're
going to get a backup quarterback probably?
Yeah, obviously. Man, this sucks. I feel terrible about this.
Chicago Bears defense still on the board, man. Round 8 ADP.
This is I'm so mad.
For those of you guys listening, I was completely joking about that. Don't draft the Chicago Bears defense in round 8 or 11 or 14. Just wait until the end.
Yeah, I went with Deion Lewis here. I mean, it's not a sexy pick, but the reason that I can't do this stuff is because I know who I wanted with that pick, and I know he's going to go by the time it gets back to me. But again, it was another sexy pick. I needed more stability, and I'm searching for it. And this draft just hasn't gone the way I wanted it to.
I don't know who I'm going to take with my next pick, man. I haven't decided yet. I guess I could go quarterback here with Jameis Winston. Yeah, I'm almost definitely going to do that. Go quarterback with Jameis Winston before it gets too late to get one of my guys. I could go with another wide receiver, and it would probably be Sanu at this point. I like Damian Harris in this stage, but I'm going to go ahead and get Jameis Winston, who I've got as a top 7 fantasy quarterback. Tex, where is he in your rankings?
He's number 8 for me, man. So he's right there. So that is someone that if my team had stability and I was looking for an upside option, I would select Jameis Winston over Russell Wilson. Just want to be clear about that.
Yeah.
But again, Jameis Winston does present a lot of volatility as well, like he has over the years. But Winston is someone that if you can get him in the 11th round like this, yes, absolutely wait at the quarterback position. In most leagues, you can.
Mike Davis went as the wide receiver 7 in this draft. Chris Godwin went as the wide receiver 16 in this draft. OJ Howard went as the tight end number 4 in this draft. Mm-hmm. All 3 of those guys tell you what you need to know about Jameis Winston. It doesn't matter if he's good. He's going to produce because he's got a great supporting cast.
Yep. And that's basically what it comes down to. There's so many things that are tying to Jameis Winston, and the fact that don't worry if he's not a great real life quarterback. That's what I tell people, is because so many people are like, oh, he's going to get benched. He's not getting benched. First off, his backup is Blaine Gabbert. Okay, that's not going to happen. But Blaine Gabbert's now hurt, by the way, but they have no run game. Ronald Jones is disappointed. Peyton Barber is just a guy. That offensive line is not good enough to get much with the run. They're all going to average probably sub 4 yards per carry. So on top of that,
Isn't Blaine Gabbert the guy who replaced Colin Kaepernick?
Did he? I don't remember who it was when Kaepernick was in San Francisco. It was Alex Smith when they were there. I don't remember who did, but so back in recent, that's the oddest thing to bring up.
49ers were 1-10, and let's see who they brought in here. They brought in Blaine Gabbert. Blaine Gabbert's a job stealer, man. Who knows? Jameis Winston better watch out.
That's not happening, but that defense is terrible. They're going to allow a lot of points in Tampa. That back end of that secondary is just so bad. I don't know what they're doing, but it's like a rebuild. But that offense should be high powered with Bruce Arians calling plays.
Hey, so I'm going to say something really quick. So
there it goes, Damian Harris.
Earlier in the show, when my internet stopped working, Tags, we've got a video guy, a new video guy who's doing a lot of the stuff on this YouTube channel, and all the stuff on the YouTube channel. He's phenomenal. His name's Chris. Can you imagine the headache that he had? And he dealt with it so well. I just wanted to give props to Chris. Like, awesome job, man. Really appreciate you, filling in when my internet blew it.
Yeah, thanks for taking care of me, Chris. Give me the full screen approach. No. So, Bobby, Damian Harris, you passed on him. Who did you draft with your pick?
I drafted.
You took Jameis Winston. Okay, being your short at running back.
I drafted Winston. You're right.
Yeah, being your short at running back, did you not consider Damian Harris there?
I absolutely considered him, but I feel like I've got Winston as my number 7 quarterback. The next quarterback on my board is I had Lamar Jackson at number 13, Kyler Murray at 14, Mitch Trubisky, I guess, is at 12, so he would have been the next guy. I just think there's a huge drop off in my rankings from number 7 to number 12. Like you mentioned, QB 9 to QB 18, it's like the same player, but those top 7 guys, I think there's a pretty big difference.
That's definitely fair. That's fair.
Malcolm Brown off the board. That was my next pick.
So who are you looking to get in 2 picks here? Because by the time this goes up, you know that the delay is going to catch up.
Yeah, and you're gonna you know what? I guess it's Sanu. Like I like my wide receivers, but I'm looking at the running backs. It's ugly. I don't really see much upside. Mike Davis is the next guy with upside. Chase Edmonds has some upside. Raquel Armstead. Brian Hill's way down there. I wouldn't need to draft him until the last round if I wanted him. I think he's the back. Oh, Sanu was taken.
Well, I mean, that's what we get for talking about it. I think they probably heard you say Sanu and they were like, check.
Yeah. I'm going to go Marquise Goodwin then.
Yeah, Sanu was the guy that I was looking at there. I was hoping Sanu would fall to me. He offers more consistency too. Again, not a sexy player, but
you wanted Goodwin?
No, I wanted Sanu.
Okay.
But obviously you were going to take him.
He's going to start for the 49ers, right?
I would think so. I mean, he was a guy that was drafted as a top 32 wide receiver last year, and now people are like legitimately letting him fall at the top 60 wide receivers. I think that's crazy. I think the risk is worth the reward at that point.
Hey, side effects and Poe knows if you guys are drafting, Tags is planning on picking Traquan Smith, so you might want to do that right now before.
Traquan Smith is all right. So let's see. Pono is the only one I got to worry about now. So Nyheim Hines came off the board.
Is that who you were going to take?
I don't know.
Yes,
Okay, so now I'm to the point where I know that the delay is far enough where I can say it. No, because basically he's an upside pick. He's another one of those sexy picks that could.
And you don't need more of those.
Yeah.
It's like Adam Humphries, somebody safer.
I'm trying to figure that part out right now. Okay. But Traquan does offer some massive upside. Oh, man. I'm not even kidding right now. I'm actually debating Delaney Walker because I'm thinking about it this way. If I was debating Mohamed Sanu, Delaney Walker should put up similar numbers to him each week, right? And on top of that,
I think that's fair. When you're playing in these double flex leagues, you can actually use, tight end 13, tight end 14 on your team.
Because there's no stability on the board. This is just terrible. I hate it.
Doesn't it suck when you're drafting against people who are listening to your advice on the podcast and they take all of your guys? So usually you're in the 12th round and I'm getting Justice Hill here. There's no chance he was dropping.
Yeah, so many people are going to like criticize me for this Delaney Walker pick, and I don't blame them, but like think about my logic for a second. Like Delaney Walker should average, I'd say, around 5 catches for 50 yards, something like that this year, throwing a touchdown, every 2 or 3 weeks. Whereas debating him over someone like Adam Humphries, like, is there really upside with Adam Humphries? And if something happens to OJ Howard, who, by the way, hasn't been able to stay healthy, I have a backup there.
Mike Evans is already banged up too, by the way.
Yeah, believe me, I'm not like, I told you guys, I'm not so much a fan of this team right now. Like, I hate the team that I've drafted. Like, I legit.
We've got your roster pulled up. Everybody on YouTube is watching.
Yeah,
dude, this team is bad.
Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, I hope I get a good grade.
You are riding on the slow-paced Seattle Seahawks offense with Russell Wilson, Chris Carson, Tyler Lockett. I mean, when I say bad, I would be disappointed if I had this team, but compared to the rest of the teams in the league, I think you've got a better than average team. It's just, I've done 50 mock drafts with you this year, and this is probably the worst team that you've drafted.
You're probably right. And it probably means that I'm going to get the highest score. Hey, Bobby,
I don't think that's the way it works. Whoa, dude, you got 6 guys on week 11 bye.
That's a good thing. I have no issue.
Hopefully I'm playing you that week.
All right. So here,
Bobby, not that I really need the help. I mean, look at my
pull up the draft board real quick, because I just want to see, like, you can kind of see the landscape of where people have been picked, and you can kind of see the breakdown of where players have gone, the trends at each position, and like just break that part down. Oh, I'm on the clock. So if you could do that real quick while I'm looking at my sheet, explain like the features that we have basically on the Draft Wizard.
Yeah, so there's 4 primary tabs that you can click on here. Cheat sheets is what I'm typically on. I love to use pick predictor. It tells you what the odds are that a player is going to be picked before your next selection. I can go out to 2 rounds, 3 rounds, and it's a little more different when you're going against people who are listening to your advice, because it's more likely that they're going to pick the guys that you've been recommending. But typically this is something that you can rely on during your drafts. It's very accurate because we're looking at 120 different experts and what they're recommending, and so it's going to tell you what the odds are that the guy's taken. And you can sync Draft Wizard with your live draft, which I think is really the best tool that we have. Now, it's a premium feature, but it's absolutely amazing to be able to make your picks here with basically a team of experts in your back pocket.
Yep, it's really nice. And the thing is like I'll get some things from people that say, I don't know why I got a bad grade. I got a B- or a C+. Like, I love this team. Here's the thing. If 150 plus experts agree with you, that's a good thing. Obviously, it's never a bad thing to have all those guys that are in the industry, behind your back. But I've done drafts myself where I legitimately get to the end and I'm like, I love this team. And I got like an 84. And I'm like, that's fine, because in the end, you guys you have to love your team. You want to take the advice and like look at it and break it down, but it's very minuscule, because understand that a draft, while it has a massive impact on your team, it's probably like, what would you say the odds are, like in terms of like the percentages, Bobby, like in terms of like drafting, waiver wire, trades, and like setting your lineup? I would say that a draft is maybe 35% of the fantasy season.
Waiver wire, I would put it 45%, setting your lineup at
maybe 5 or 10%
and trades at 5.
Yeah, that's basically how I feel about it. Yeah.
I just took Chase Edmonds, by the way. I feel like he's the highest upside backup running back remaining, just because they run so many plays in Arizona. I don't love the offensive line. I don't love Chase Edmonds' talent. But again, they're going to be – based on what they did last season, 16 games worth of snaps, was 31st in the league. If they even go up to 72, and Cliff Kingsbury says he's going to get 80 snaps a game, let's say 72. That's an extra 4 games worth of snaps for the Cardinals. So if anything happened to David Johnson, I think Chase Edmonds would be a high-end RB2 week to week.
Chase Edmonds is a solid pick. He's someone that he might be in like an Austin Eckler type role, to be honest with you. Like David Johnson's a really good receiver, but Melvin Gordon has put up totals in the receiving game where it's like a very, top heavy running back core, where it's like you have David Johnson, he's going to need breathers. Chase Edmonds might get 7 to 10 touches per game, which is not a bad thing. But then if something happened to David Johnson, it's massive potential there for Chase Edmonds.
All right. So I got 2 more bench spots left. So do U-tags and a DST. I'm looking at the draft board now, and it's color coded, as you guys can see. Blue is running back, yellow is wide receiver, red is tight end, green is quarterback. And so, in your public leagues, there's going to be a little more green towards the top if you're playing with family and friends. If you're playing in a more competitive league, people who are investing a lot of their hard-earned money, these quarterbacks are going to drop down to about where they are, maybe even a little bit further than that. The tight ends went about where you would expect, close to ADP. George Kittle went in the late second. That's a little bit early. Ertz went a little bit late in the late third. OJ Howard and Hunter Henry in the 5th. Evan Ingram. I would have thought the tight ends after that would have dropped a little bit more, but that's a little bit obtuse of me to think that, because that's where their ADPs are. I just have such a big difference between Ingram and the tight ends all the way at the end.
All right. So let's see. So Bobby, you're going to be on the clock here in a moment. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling about your roster? So up at the top, I'm guessing you can pull up your team and people can see what you're looking at here. So you have Mark Ingram in your RB2 slot. You fill both of your flexes. Do you feel good about Matt Breida in your flex, or do you feel like one of these guys in your bench is going to have to be rotated in?
I'm taking Matt Breida off and putting Anthony Miller in right now. Breida's more of an upside play than he is a rely on him play, and Miller's more of a rely on him while he's healthy play. Let's see if he does stay healthy. So that's how I'm setting my squad right now. And I also wanted to actually, my pick's coming up. Let me see who I'm going to get so I don't pull a tags and accidentally end up with someone.
So I don't pull
I'm very excited about. No offense, tags. Everybody here knows that you beat me in the mock drafts this year, so I don't really have anything else to say.
It wasn't a great year for mocks for Bobby. He knows that, but this one I would have.
I'm probably going to lose. I mean, I like my team better. I think you probably like my team better, but I don't know. I'm very likely going to lose just because Tags always finds a way to beat me. Like, he sent someone to my house to zap off my internet so that he didn't know that Chris was going to be able to postpone this. He just thought it would be an automatic auto draft for me and I would lose. Let's see here. Because this is a double flex league and I'm looking at my bench, there's no one I can really rely on week to week. I'm going to go ahead and get someone that I wouldn't mind plugging into that second flex. It's Chris Thompson. I don't love him in a single flex league, but in a deeper league like this, I wouldn't mind using him while he's healthy.
Yeah, the Chris Thompson pick's a good one.
Mentioned, Tugs was talking about these draft grades, and if you feel upset that you got a C plus, I think that what that means is you need to upload your own cheat sheet. So maybe you're listening to 5 different experts. Okay, what you do is you take those 5 expert rankings and you can make your own custom cheat sheet, and that uploads. That can upload here to Draft Wizard, so that when you get your draft grade, it's going to tell you how those 5 experts would rank it. Or you can set your own rankings, and it'll tell you what your rankings gave your draft grade. That way, if you're drafting the guys that you want to draft, it'll help you understand how you can better your strategy.
I love the team name Brian's Busts. That's funny. So by the way, I just drafted my first share of somebody that I'm actually I'm thinking about moving him up further up my board because I thought about him last round too, and that's Albert Wilson. With all the reports out of Miami that Kenny Stills is on the trade block, that Devontae Parker now is apparently on the trade block, I don't know if I believe that one, but I think all of it just points to Albert Wilson as someone that they're going to build that team around. Like he's going to be the slot receiver. If that offensive line is crap, which it would be without Laramie Tunsil, which it is even with Laramie Tunsil.
It's not like he's just a Jamison Crowder with empty targets. It's
he played on the perimeter with Kansas City, so he could do it. But they're going to use him in that slot role. So Albert Wilson, I actually don't mind him in the later rounds. I just think that I don't think that there's massive potential with him because that Miami offense isn't going to be great. But this late in the draft and like a half PPR format, I'm not opposed to it considering the rest of my roster.
I'm shocked you took him over Mike Davis though.
I don't even know why you had to say it. Oh, he went. Oh,
he's already gone. I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to be nice.
I really thought Mike Davis might fall. I should have talked about. I should have talked about him at the beginning of the show. If I really did like him, because that was just obviously stupid. But Mike Davis was someone. It was either Mike Davis or Albert Wilson with that pick. I went with Wilson just because I feel like I'm pretty strong at running back, like Ezekiel Elliott, Chris Carson, Miles Sanders, Austin Eckler, and then Deion Lewis in the bench. So, let me just take a high upside backup. And again, I'm not like high on Jamal Williams, but this is basically where we're at in the draft. It's like this is almost like the last pick for me. I'm going to go with Jamal Williams, a guy that's going to back up Aaron Jones. He might get 7-8 touches per week and whatever. I'm not going to rely on him. The only time I would rely on Jamal Williams is if something happened to Aaron Jones. Let's say he had a hamstring injury. Jamal Williams is going to walk into a 15+ touch role in the Packers offense. He's one of the higher upside backups.
So Tags, this is kind of ridiculous. So at this stage in a normal draft, 13th, 14th, 15th round, I've got 8 guys that I wouldn't mind grabbing. They're all high upside backup guys. One of them is Dallas Goedert. Devontae Parker is already long gone. He's not a backup, obviously. And then all the running backs. But all those guys are gone because we're drafted against our listeners, and they took all my guys. So I'm going to do something that I would never advise doing. I'm going to draft the defense around early. My number 2 defense is still on the board. It's the Cleveland Browns. And we're close enough to the start of the season that it's unlikely that some starting running back is going to get hurt. They're going to baby them in the last preseason game just to make sure they're ready to roll next week. And so I don't feel like you need to draft a high upside backup at this point and then replace him with a bench at the very last minute, replace him with a DST at the very last minute. So I got my number 2 defense, the Cleveland Browns. I feel a little bit ashamed about it though.
You have them number 2. I mean, I like them. And I think that even if you're streaming defenses, like they're a phenomenal pick because they're playing the Titans in week 1. And that's a team that is going to be without Taylor Lewan, their starting left tackle. So,
and then they get the Jets.
Yeah, they have a good start to their schedule. So the Browns are a team that I'm winding up with a lot in my leagues because I will take them the round before the last one. And honestly, I'm starting to lose my mind about kickers. So Bobby, I don't know if you know this. I took part in a Pros versus Joes draft. Okay. It's a 28 round thing. Okay. It's best ball in 28 rounds. It has kickers. It has defenses. So all strategy things say you have to take 3 kickers. Okay. I took 3 kickers, Bobby. 2 of them are already without jobs.
Oh no.
Right. No. And then Giorgio Tavecchio, the Falcons kicker, apparently they're looking to move on from him. Matt Bryan is coming into tryout as the kicker for them again. So it's like,
have no kicker.
I hate kickers.
I just don't understand why we're keeping kickers around.
I don't either. And I mean, For me, it's like, that's why if I have to go the round before the last one to get someone like Greg Zuerlein or Justin Tucker or someone like that, I'm willing to do it because I'm not dealing with the crap at the kicker position anymore. I am so tired of it.
I've got one more pick, and I don't know if my guy's going to drop. I haven't got any shares of him, but in a league this deep, 16 rounds, and everybody drafting all of my sleepers, I'm going to get my first share of this guy, hopefully. And you know what? I actually like his upside, even though it's going to surprise some of you all. In fact, we haven't even talked about him on the podcast tags.
Who are you talking about?
Oh, do you have a guess?
Trey Quinn.
I don't think he has much upside, man. He plays for Washington.
Well, I guess that's true. But it's kind of like Trey Quinn. I view kind of like as an Albert Wilson type, where it's like, would we be surprised?
He's safe, I think.
Would we be surprised if like Trey Quinn led the Redskins in receptions this year, or Albert Wilson led the Dolphins in receptions? Yeah. So I mean, the final round, that's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a much deeper league, I'd be happy to get Trey Quinn, but man, I've got 4 running backs on my bench. All right, my guy dropped. It's Ty Montgomery, the direct backup to Le'Veon Bell. Now, I don't love this offense, but Ty Montgomery's looked really good this preseason, tags.
It's hilarious. I've actually started my week 1 like prep, and I started like looking at that game, and what I wrote on Le'Veon Bell is like, did they really pay Bell a ton of money to come to the team and then go to have Ty Montgomery cut into his snaps? Because if that happens, it's going to be the most Adam Gase thing ever.
It has nothing to do with Ty Montgomery cutting into his snaps. I'm not planning on playing him unless something happens to Le'Veon Bell. And if something does happen, I think Ty Montgomery is going to be a 3-down back that they can use game script proof. All
right. So here we go. We're about to get to the end. We have 2 picks left. Bobby, we're going to be giving away our score. Okay. Because it seems like in the chat, they've had questions where whoever gets the score correct could be winning something. So we're both going to have to give away our scores.
I think I got an 88. Well. Oh no. What happened?
Well, I can't see your score.
Oh, I got a 77 C+.
Oh my God. So Bobby, I think that you need to pull up the projected standings so everybody can see where I am.
Everybody sees it, man. You're at the top. How did that happen?
What is up? That's what happens when I don't like my team. Experts do.
Holy cow.
Oh man. Oh, Bobby, there's 10 people in this draft that are getting upgrades. Well,
yes,
not me.
There are.
Not me. But or not, yeah.
Everyone is looking at me being very sad right now and trying to figure out what in the world happened.
I mean, look at it. So after the draft, you can look at that. Bobby's pulling it up on the screen now. You can see basically the draft analysis. You can highlight steals. You could do reaches where it goes 2+ rounds. You could do all that stuff where I'm pulling up yours now, Bobby, and it is telling me that you reached on Tony Pollard, Chase Edmonds, and Ty Montgomery. But those are late round picks, which is kind of,
I think what it comes down to is that I took Travis Kelce in the 2nd round is my estimation.
Yeah.
My running backs are not great.
My score, guys, was 93 out of 100.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And it's all because tags sabotaged my internet. Otherwise, I would have got, instead of Davante Adams, I would have picked Julio Jones. I probably would have got a 96, 97 probably.
Yeah, maybe, Bobby. But I mean, I don't know. We were drafting with some smart people today. So I'd just like to thank my mom, obviously, for birthing me, bringing me into this world. I would like to thank Chris, our producer, for making this video possible for all of you to see that I beat Bobby. I'd like to thank James for the poem that he's about to write for Bobby to read to me on the podcast that you guys can make sure you tune into tomorrow. But thank you guys seriously for tuning into the show. We greatly appreciate it. And I'm sure Bobby would agree.
That was a lot of fun. We love you guys. Again, thank you for being patient while my internet was out. I can't believe the timing of that happening. Really glad I got to eat lunch, and I'm going to go finish it now.
Enjoy it, dude. I need to go eat something as well.
All right. Hey, guys, we're going to have 4 podcast episodes per week during the regular season. So if you've been enjoying the preseason content, make sure to tune into the Fantasy Pros Football Podcast. We're going to have plenty more videos and live streams as well. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future content. If you enjoy the video, please like. We really, really appreciate it. And it tells our bosses that you enjoy us doing this.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks for watching, and enjoy your football.